All right. Um, all right, we'll go. Welcome to my channel. I'm Mercury Addison, and today I am uh, doing the final piece of an art exchange that I've been working on with my friend to do whatever. Let's see here. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. I've already got the background finished. I've got the line work and flat colors finished for the 5 characters. Today I'm going to be doing the lighting and shading on those 5 characters, and that's going to be the last bit. This is technically a live stream, but I've always intended for my live streams to be a perk for Ko-Fi subscribers, and I do not yet have any Ko-Fi subscribers. The creator of the webcomic that I'm doing this art exchange for, Do Whatever, will be joining us a little bit later probably. She is not a Ko-Fi subscriber, but she is the creator of the webcomic that this art piece is based on, so it only felt right that she would be here. So she'll be joining us a little bit later, and so let's just get into it. Let's get it started. I already have 2 colors here picked out, and you can see they don't really look like they would match here very well, but it's a pretty sweet trick. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be using these colors on multiply in order to create shadows and lighting. So I'm going to start a new layer, I'm going to put it on clipping and multiply, and now I will just be able to start adding shadows. I'm not very practiced in this quite yet. I'm still getting the hang of it. I haven't really done a whole lot of this before, but that's part of why I'm doing all this, is to practice and get better at it. So I'm just going to start filling in some of the shadows here. And I'm going to be doing the lighting a little bit, not strange, but just a little bit different. I'm kind of be trying to make it so that the characters are kind of like backlit a little bit almost, because their primary source of lighting is going to be coming firstly from the stars in space, and then secondly from just like mild glow effects from the control panel. So I'm going to be trying to do most of their shading that way, backlit by the stars and by the control panels. So I'm just going to start drawing them in, filling them in. Oh, I thought you, yeah, cool. Nice to join you. Have you joined us? I had totally thought you would be later than that. So right now I'm doing some of the lighting and things and everything. And I was just saying, I'm planning on having it be the characters are mostly like in shadow, but they're kind of like backlit, so it'll give them kind of this glowing effect when I get it all done very well. But it's gonna take a little bit, and I'm not very practiced in this method just yet. I'm still trying to figure it out and learn it and all that sort of thing. But I've just got a color that I have on multiply, and that's going to be creating the bulk of the shadows here. When it's not on multiply, this is the color. But then when you do set it to multiply, it actually just creates nice shadows. So I picked the colors beforehand. They don't look super dynamic just yet, but I'm kind of trying to learn how to do all this and trust the process. So hopefully it'll get pretty good. And then yeah, I feel like if AJR songs had more country covers, they would fit cowboy perfectly. I'm not sure what AJR is, to be honest. But yeah. It's looking good so far. Thank you. Yeah, and then I'm going to do, of course, a lot of blurring and just kind of polishing it up. I'm planning on having it so that it's like, I don't know if I already said this when you got put when you showed up. I'm not able to speak very well today. Jesus. Okay. I'm kind of planning on making it so that it's like the characters are mostly backlit by the stars of space, and then also by the like the warning signs and the gravity off thing that I put in the computers last time. So that's going to be mostly where they get all of their lighting from. So they're going to be kind of in shadow for most of it, but they will have some nice glowing effect going on around the outlines. I know I'm going to try to kind of shape him out a little bit with his shadow here. I'm going to do a bit of a line here so that it looks kind of full because he's getting it from the front there. And then maybe I'll block it off in the back just to get it all sectioned off the way that I want it. Actually, I don't want that there. I need to be thoughtful in how I place my lines. I kind of want some here. That's where I want it. Yeah. Not there. So I'll probably come in like this. That seems like a good way to do that. And then I'll come in like that. And then I have to remove this thing here. I'm gonna just go in like that. Now for the arm here, let's see. Almost all of the front of that is going to be in shadow. I'll just leave the back here. Because it's behind his head, so it's not going to be getting a whole lot of light from the front. Let's see here. I want to give that a bit of a thickness going on. Just like that. Now for his hat. Get a nice little light from that side. Nice little light there. Close that up in shadow. Let's give a line there to just give the illusion of like a ribbon in the hat there. And then for this part, just gonna kind of close it up like this. Now for some of this hair. Let me switch just to get a nice sharp thing there. Yeah, that's looking good, I think. I like that because that gives it a nice little bit of color and edge. Yeah, that's looking good. Okay, now back to the face. I want to make sure to do, what did I just do? Did I close down the brush preview? That's what I did. I have to take care of this, otherwise it's gonna bug me and I'm not gonna be able to work. There we go. Okay, so see here, just gonna kind of give the outline there, let that stay kind of shine, kind of where it's supposed to be. I'll close off the neck, kind of go down in here. Give a little bit of something there in the nose. Let's just see how that looks. it doesn't quite look right. I'm gonna kind of shape this out a little better. I kind of want more of the face to be like actually in light. I do want to kind of circle the eyes a little bit though. And then I'll do the shading for the eyes themselves separately because I'd have a special way that I do eyes. Making, oh, the YouTube channel I made to promote the comic got special permissions removed again because I wasn't creating enough videos consistently. I'm thinking of just deleting it. Making videos consistently is really hard, especially when I'm currently working on the thing the videos are supposed to be promoting. Yeah, I'll bet. I'm having a hard time making myself stick to this. Sorry. Like, having it so that you're going to be here for this is really holding me accountable. But I skipped the jewelry one this week just because I just didn't really feel like doing the jewelry one this week. And I'm like, I can't let myself get into that habit. I need to start trying to be more. I'm not able to get his face looking right. I'll trust the process. I'll smooth this out a little bit with the brush later. But yeah, I was having a hard time being motivated to do the jewelry video. Okay, so let's go down here. The belt is going to be really dark to fill in, but I think that's pretty good. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. I'll just come through here like this and fill this in. Just a little bit of outlining on the back there. Cowboy kind of looks like a Dr. Seuss character in this drawing. Well, that wasn't really my intention, but I'll take it. He's a silly person, so. Definitely not a bad thing. I just can't help noticing. Yeah. He's definitely like really stretching there, trying to turn the gravity back on. So yeah, this is definitely going so much faster than the old way that I used to do shading. Cowboy is very silly and would be honored to be depicted as a Who from Whoville. Now I'm just like imagining trying to draw them in Dr. Seuss style. I almost said Doctor Who because I got Dr. Seuss and Whoville, so that I almost said Doctor Who. But yeah, it would be interesting to try to draw these characters in a Dr. Seuss style. However, I have never drawn anything in a Dr. Seuss style, so I wouldn't even know where to begin. Yeah, that actually went by so fast. So now I'm going to try to soften this up a little bit. Just kind of blur it out. But I don't want to go overboard with it. I don't want to make it too soft. Dulcians would probably fit really well in a Dr. Seuss style. You know, they probably would. You're right about that. So yeah. Oh, this last bit here. How did you do shading before trying this method? So what I used to do is I would make it so that all of the, instead of having it be one one flat color thing, like one layer of flat colors like this, I would do every single individual color on a different layer. So I would have a pink shirt layer, and then I would have like the white jacket layer, and then I would have the skin layer and the hair layer. And then what I would do is I would take each one individually, like just for an example, I would take the pink shirt, so to speak, and I would make a new one, and I would darken it and increase the saturation until I got it about the right kind of color that I would want. And then I would take my eraser and try to shape it out, erasing things like this. And it worked okay. I could do pretty good things with it. Like obviously I would try a little harder than just this, but I would do pretty good things with it, but it just took so long. And so when I found out this new method, I was like, oh my god, that would save hours. So I'm definitely trying to make it work. So I'm still not used to it. I'm still trying to practice and figure it all out and everything, but it's working out so much better for me than the old style. So let's see here. I can't think of anything to say right now for some reason. I don't like leaving like dead air, but yeah, my old style, I still do some things by myself. I don't use this for everything. Like I don't use a lot of people use this shading method for like eyes as well, and I don't do that. I like the way that I did eyes before. So I still use it for that. But for other stuff like this is just so much faster. In my art program, so long as the coloring layer is under the line art, everything will be fine. Yeah, definitely. I have the line art above the color layer, so it's definitely gonna stay that way. But this will just take so much less time. It's gonna be great. I am glad that I already did a lot of like practicing with this earlier in different in my own pieces and everything. I definitely didn't want this to be the first time that I tried it, because I was like, that's going to take a long time and it's going to be hard to try to get all of this right with someone else's style, and I wanted to make sure to do a really good job on this. So I definitely am glad that I got some practice on some of my own pieces before I came and started trying to do it here. Let's see here. There's no multiply thing in my art program. I just make another layer for shade colors and lower the opacity. Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of want to make this line a little bit less. Kind of want to get some of that in there. Oh, that's better. And up here. Up. So I was about to ask, so how do you do your shading, like specifically? But then because I was like, making another layer for shade colors and lowering the opacity. Um, I assume by that you mean that like you make another layer that's like darker than the rest, and then you just like kind of erase the parts that you don't want to be shaded. But then I was like, it would be really hard for you to explain that in just text format, so maybe that's not the best question to ask. Let's see here. Gotta be careful with the puff sleeve. I'm gonna try to use the shading and the highlighting tool here to really accentuate the difference between the sleeve and the arm for Cupcake here, because since her sleeve and her arm is the same color, I really like the effect that that made, but I also want to make sure that it doesn't get lost in my detailing. I'm gonna have to be careful to really make sure that it's clear what is arm and what is sleeve. I think I might erase kind of the back of this here a little bit. Give it just a tiny little bit of that like stardust lighting. And separate it from her back, sort of. Yeah, that's gonna look nice. Now for her hair. I don't want to go overboard with the shading here, because it's very dark. Let's see here. I do it similarly to how I do coloring. I draw some lines where I want the shadows to be, and then I use the fill bucket tool to fill in the color. Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. Gotcha. Let's see, on her face, I kind of want some shading here. Even though I want her face to be mostly in shadow, I still want to really make it stand out. So I'll have to really focus on that with the highlights in the next step. I use different shades of purple depending on how light or dark the color it's on top of will be. That makes sense. Oh wait, these are her ears, not hair. Gotta make sure I do these right. Oh, I am actually messing up. I instinctively started drawing it as if it's the light's shining from the top instead of from the side. So I need to make sure I'm getting this right. I have a very specific way of shading Cupcake's eyes. Want to hear it? Sure. Sorry. I had fish cakes for lunch, so it's probably not the best thing to have right before doing a live stream. one thing I'm definitely doing is I want to make sure to use the outlines to really make sure the ears stand out from the rest of the hair. So that's one thing I'm definitely trying to make sure happens. So at first I used to draw alternate dark and light green dots and then use an FX tool to make them look more crystallized, but it took too long to do. Yeah, that sounds like it would take a long time. So now I draw dark green triangles and rectangles on her vibrant green eye base, and then light green triangles and rectangles over those dark green shapes. That makes sense. I don't necessarily have a real plan in mind for how I'm going to do it. I figure I'll just wing it when I get there. It's sped up and has the same effect. Yeah, that makes total sense. I feel like this is kind of too much on the tail, but I'm going to just take it down a little bit here around the edges. I almost feel like, you know what? I almost feel like with this tail, I kind of need to, oh shit. I kind of need to do the tail a little bit differently than I did everything else. Instead of drawing the shadows onto it, I'm going to put the whole thing in shadow, and then I'm going to come in and carefully remove the shadows off of it along the edges where I want it to be. I don't know, that's still not quite, the tail is so thin that it's going to make it hard to get a lot of good edges made. It'll be easier with the other two because they're drawn so much bigger. Yeah, this is definitely kind of making it easier for me to shape it out the way I want it to be. That's too much. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay. Cool, so now I'm just gonna kind of come here and soften this the way I softened Cowboy. I don't want it to be too soft. I don't want it to be too muddy. But I just want to give it a little bit of a blur effect here. Yeah. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice, I think. There's something going a little wrong here. I think this white was left too much out of the line work somehow. I'm glad I noticed that. Here's another piece there. Okay, cool. Now back to this. Let's do milkshake next. And let's start with her hooves, just because that's going to be an easier place for me to start. I'm still on blur, so let's see, on pen here. So I want her to be, again, kind of backlit. And this can be a little bit more rough lineage because her fur is a little more pronounced over here. Cupcake's hair is probably the hardest to translate more realistically because it's the most cartoonish out of the lineup with the unrealistic giant hair curl. So here's the thing, is that I know that I did her hair kind of differently because of how wild it is with all the anti-gravity stuff going on. But now I'm actually kind of wishing I hadn't, because I really like to do gigantic hair curl, even in my style. And I think I can do it fairly well sometimes. Like Glinda Goodwitch, when I was doing her hair, it was so fun to do her hair the way that it did, and how it has also that just like curl right at the front. With Milkshake right now, I am intentionally leaving all these little specks here because that's just how fur is gonna go. But I do think there's a tiny little bit of color missing here. I need to fix this up real quick, or else it's just gonna be left. There we go. That's better. Okay. Now I need to repick my shading. There we go. So let's see here. It's turning out nice. Oh, again, here's some missing color. Let me see if I can just kind of smudge this one into place. There we go. I hate it when you're shading and you realize there were parts you forgot to color. Happens to me all the time. Yep. Especially with this fur texture, it is so easy to just miss things and to not see a tiny little bit of color that you missed. There's so many little lines, so many little gaps that can be missed when you do the fill tool. And even when you go through and you follow along the lines and try to make sure you caught all the little pieces, there's still stuff that just gets, it just gets missed. I'll tell you what though, I am really loving the fur. I feel like it's just turned out so good. I did not expect it to turn out this good. I thought that I was gonna do, like, I thought I was gonna have a way harder time with the fur. But it's turned out real nice, I think. It did. The fur looks really good. Thank you. I'm glad you like it too. I'm actually just still sitting here in awe of how fast this is going. This new way of shading things is so nice. I can't believe I'd never even like learned about it or heard about it before. This is why you watch art YouTube. Is because you learn techniques that you never would have thought of. And it really just helps. It helps so much. I love living in a day and an age where I can just like Google how do I do this, and then I'll find some YouTube video that'll just show me exactly how to do it. It makes art so much more accessible than it used to be. Like, it used to be, if you couldn't afford to take classes, or at the very least, like, you know, buy books or something, and sometimes those books maybe weren't even the best way to learn. They maybe weren't always correct and everything. If you didn't have enough money to buy knowledge, you just didn't have any, and it sucked. Living in an age where I can just learn things because there are people out in the world that think it's important to share them and think it's important to make sure that people can learn and do things. I love it. Things like art used to be something that, like, not even before, not even just talking about, you know, before YouTube and everything. If you go back far enough, art was definitely something that only the very rich could do. Everyone else, they were too busy working, and they had no access to this sort of thing. Back when, like, the Industrial Revolution was, like, drawing to a close and everything, and people started demanding less working hours and more leisure time and all that sort of thing. There was this huge, like, scare among richer people. Not that they were like, poor people shouldn't be allowed to have the kind of things that we do, but they were like, I don't know what poor people are going to do with their time off. They don't know how to have leisure time, so they're gonna get up to crime. They're gonna be all criminals, because if we give them leisure time and they don't know how to spend it, then they're just gonna turn to crime. So then there was actually this big push from, like, rich people that were, like, publishing how-to things about hobbies and everything, because they were afraid that if poor people had more leisure time, they would turn into criminals because they didn't know how to spend their leisure time. And it was like, before that, hobbies were for people who didn't have to work. And I'm just like, it's ridiculous, but I'm definitely very glad to live at a time where I have time to learn hobbies like this, and also have the ability to access resources that teach me how to do it. That's kind of funny. Yeah, like, right, when I learned that, I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? They were so afraid that poor people would turn into criminals because they didn't know how to have days off. I was like, that says so much more about the way that you guys ran society than I think you even realize. I don't usually do this kind of shading, so I'm not sure if I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out. Usually I don't backlight. So this is a fun way to practice and learn a new way of lighting. It's because usually I do that thing where it's like most of my characters just happen to be standing in exactly the right position so that the light always shines from one specific, like, frontwards facing left angle. And so it's like, that's how I usually shade. So it's going to be interesting trying to do this backlighting thing. Rich people didn't even understand that poor people didn't have leisure time because of them. Yeah. Literally. It was like a lot of working class people, their entire existence was just revolving around work and servitude, And it wasn't out of choice, it was just because that's what was forced on them. That was the life that they had been dealt. Um, they literally think that just having more stuff makes them a totally different species. It's so true. They really do. Um, Going back even farther than like the Industrial Revolution and everything, back in medieval times with the peasant cases and everything like that, peasants, they couldn't even like decide where they lived. They were considered part of the land that they were born on. Wait, I'm doing this backwards. I'm shading from the top instead of from the side. They were considered a part of the land. So like a peasant would be born in a specific piece of farmland that their parents lived in and worked in, and then they were considered part of that farmland basically. And so the rich people who owned the land, they pretty much just also owned the peasants. And it's a terrible system, absolutely bonkers that it was allowed to go on like that. So if you were a peasant and you thought maybe I'll have a better life if I am a peasant in the city in London instead of a peasant in the farmlands, you couldn't that didn't matter. If you thought you might have a better life as a poor person in a city, you had been born in the country on a specific farm and you belonged to that farm. It's disgusting. Society has a very long way to go. We have a very, very long way to go still. But at the same time, at least we're not where we were. God. I kind of think that I kind of want a little bit of lighting on the palm of the hand here. Yeah, that looks nice. And then for the thumbs and for the claw things, let's just give a little bit of nice light around the thing to kind of separate it from itself. Separate it from the other ones. That's gonna be real nice. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So now this half of the jacket, I'm gonna shade that definitely. I'm gonna come in like this. I want to shade this shoulder. Yeah, that's looking pretty nice. Oh, I better save while I'm thinking about it. I need to get out of the habit of saving at the end instead of several times during the process. Because one day it's going to catch up to me. I think this whole thing can be shaded, so I'm probably just going to come right back down here and just do this part. Quite like that. That looks nice. And then I'll give a bit of an outline here. Because that part is backlit. And yeah. Okay, cool. So now I can fill in the rest of this here. Honestly, the thing about like what I was just talking about, it's so crazy watching humanity just like devolve back into those kinds of ways of thinking where it's like your entire purpose as a living breathing person is to work for somebody else. And you know, Americans and other capitalists, they like to present it as if it's a meritocracy. It's like, you don't understand. It's not that these people were born to privilege, it's just they earned privilege by being smarter and better than everybody else. And it's like, no, they were born to it. They were born to their wealth, just like all of the old lords and landlords and that sort of thing. They were born to it. They didn't earn it. They just happened to have been lucky. And then all these people are just completely falling for it and letting us be dragged back into this age. And it's just like, it's sad. It's like, I thought we were supposed to have evolved by now. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. There we go. It's like, I thought we knew better. I thought that you guys all agreed that it was absolutely bullshit for somebody to be born in a position of ownership over you. Like, what the hell? But no, since it's Elon Musk, he gets a free pass to do it. You're just reinventing the aristocracy. You're reinventing a monarchy. You're just doing it. You're just finding a different origin story for it. That's all. A lot of those old, landlord types and everything, they ended up where they were because they had owned the most land. And it's like, that's the exact same thing. This isn't a meritocracy. He just happened to inherit the most money. And then he became a miser so that he could hoard the rest of it. It's ridiculous. If I hear someone call Elon Musk, a man who was born rich and white in South Africa, a genius who earned his money one more time, I will slap someone. Seriously, it's like, it's so ridiculous. Like, come on. I'm going to take this tale one section at a time. And I'm not going to do the whole thing that I did last time with Cupcake. That worked for her, but I think this time just drawing the shadows on will work much better for Milkshake. I'll do this section first. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. The lines don't have to be too deliberate in this stage because they are going to kind of be softened out and everything. And now for the head. So I think, honestly, the entire neck just needs to be in shadow. Honestly, most of this face is going to be in shadow too. Most of this face. But it'll be sectioned off a little bit better once I get into the next stage. Let's see, I do want to be a little more careful with the hair. This does need to be a little more deliberate in how I place my lines. with Cupcake, since she was so far away and all that, it didn't matter, and especially because her hair was black, so it's not going to be as noticeable. But definitely with this hair, I need to be careful, intentional in how I place all my lines. Who do you think is prettier, Milkshake or Cupcake? It's hard to say. I think that Cupcake was kind of designed to be sexy, but I feel like Milkshake just has she's got this quality about her that I think just it makes her feel, I don't know. I like Milkshake better, but honestly, it all comes down to personal preference, really. Some people would like Cupcake better, some people would like Milkshake better. My pen is not quite doing what I want it to do here. I tell you what, in the newer chapters that I've been like proofreading and everything, I haven't read the last couple, but I've just been busy. But in the chapters I've been proofreading, I'm really liking the way that Cupcake is like finally allowed to just exist without being all like dolled up and everything. I feel like it's such commentary on like just the way that women are just kind of like used and turned into objects and that sort of thing. A lot of Cupcake's story feels very intentional that way, where it's just like she, as a character, she was made to be commentary on the way that society treats women and like just turns them into things that they want to look at. And like, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with people who want to dress up nice or they like to feel pretty and that sort of thing. It's totally fine. I think that if Cupcake had chosen to dress the way that she was dressed, I would love it. I would think nothing of it. But then at the same time, it's just like the point is that she didn't choose that way. The point is that it wasn't what she wanted to wear. The point is that somebody made her wear it because they wanted to look at her. And so it's really nice commentary, I think, on just the objectification of women. Is the captain or cowboy more handsome? I have to even that out with the boys, yeah. I think that maybe, again, I would say that the captain is more in that traditional kind of way where it's like he's the strong-jawed, square-shouldered type that everyone seems to go crazy over. And he wears it well. I'm not gonna lie. But like between the two of them, I kind of like Cowboy a little more. He's just a little more substantial. But the thing is, it's actually I'm not really the best judge of this sort of thing, because not only do I have autism-based face blindness, where I will have a hard time sometimes knowing what someone's face like people will like be like, do you remember what so and so looks like? And I'll be like, no, I do not remember what so and so looks like. If you showed me a picture, there's a chance that I would be able to point out who it is. What is this? Oh, it's the collar. I was like, what is this white and yellow color here? It's the collar. Gotcha. But I was like, if you show me a picture of somebody, I might be able to tell you who it is if I'm familiar enough with them. But there's also every chance that I'll be like, is that some other person that looks nothing like them? And they'll be like, no, what are you talking about? They don't look anything like this person. And I just can't tell because I have a bit of face blindness. And then the other thing is I'm also, like, I'm not really physically attracted to most people. I am a gray ace and I am pan-romantic. So I kind of just fall in love with, I know it sounds cliche, but I kind of just fall in love with souls more than with appearances. So that's like a double whammy for me. I'm not a very good judge on conventional beauty because I don't really feel attraction to like 99% of cases. it's a hard sell to find someone that I'd say, oh yeah, I'm physically attracted to that person. Rarely happens. Very rarely happens. And then on top of that, like I said, I have face blindness. So it's hard for me to be a judge of conventional beauty. I love hearing analysis on Cupcake. Yeah. Well, she's a fascinating character, so there's a lot to analyze. And I absolutely just, I know fandoms well enough that I'm like, so many people would just hate Cupcake. They would hate Cupcake entirely. They'd be like, she's a bitch. She's mean. She's nasty. She she made Cowboy feel sad. And I'm like, yeah, she did. And that was wrong of her. But you always say you want nuanced, messy characters until you get one. And then all of a sudden she's a bitch. It's like, I feel so sorry for, not that I feel sorry for Cupcake in that I think that she's like real or anything like that. Of course not. But I cringe just imagining the way that fandoms would chew up that poor character and spit her out. Oh, the blue brush is not big enough. There we go. And I feel like she's also the kind of character that a lot of people would just objectify. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily bad to like be like, oh wow, that fictional character is so hot. Because the thing is, a fictional character is actually a bit of an object already. Because they don't exist. They are not a real person. They only exist to be used to tell an author's story. So I'm not like out here being like, we need to protect Cupcake from fandom or anything like that. But it's like, I get the idea that a lot of people would, when they see Cupcake, they'd just be like, wow, this is the hot one. That's fun. I get to post, thirst things about this character. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Have at it. Have fun. Feel free. But also at the same time, I'm just like, I think that Cupcake would probably hate you. Luckily, the very small fandom we have right now really appreciates her. Yes, from what I've seen, that is accurate. So yeah, I'm not trying to commentate on the fandom as it is now, the tiny little bit of following that we have now. I'm just kind of like, if this thing ever blew up, and if this project ever got like super well known and popular and famous, I absolutely think there would be a subsection of the fandom that just loses it and doesn't understand anything. But that's the future, not right now. I'm trying to be careful not to go overboard with the softening. I tend to do that. I tend to make the lines and the shading really soft, and I know that in some cases it can kind of come across muddying it and making the art look kind of like it was stained or something. So I try to be careful not to do too much softening. I gotta remind myself to trust the process. I gotta remind myself that there's more to come and this isn't just the final product. Let's see. I honestly feel like Cupcake would have a bit of a Weiss situation where because she's so flawed, she ends up becoming the most popular character. Yeah, that's true. Of course, now that's just making me think of how they turned Weiss. Oh, I missed a bit here. I missed this little bit of a outcropping here. I'm glad I saw that. How Rooster Teeth kind of turned Weiss into this kind of like sweetheart angel thing, where it's like she used to be the biggest brat on the planet. And of course, I'm an advocate for letting a character grow and learn and change and that sort of thing. But with Weiss, it just kind of felt a little bit overboard, and it felt a little bit like they hadn't quite earned that transformation, where it was like she used to be this huge brat, had all these problems, was just constantly struggling with being a teammate instead of a leader, trying to take over, that sort of thing. And then it's like all of a sudden she was like, I'm Weiss, I'm the sad one, I'm the sweet one, I'm gonna be like, yay, I love all you guys. please don't remind me how I used to be. And it was like, it just felt unearned, because it was like, I would have loved to see the character turn into a sweet one, but not at the snap of a finger like that. Let her grow, let her change, let her have moments, let her be a brat for a little longer at least. It just kind of felt like since she was popular, she got the angel treatment. And it doesn't help that they literally started like putting her in angel wings and that sort of thing. I was like, come on. I like how every single live stream that I do eventually turns into ranting about how bad Ruby is. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. Alright, now let's do cupcake. I mean, butterscotch. That's another thing that I, along with my face blindness, I also tend to forget names super easily. So especially with these three characters all having these similar sweet names, it is hard for me to keep them all straight in my head. I know which character is which, but my brain decides to say the wrong name. Let's see, I think Weiss and Cupcake have a lot in common. They're both singers with kind of bratty personalities. They have some bigoted viewpoints that they have to grow from, and they have a lot of trauma. Also, they are beautiful young women with visible facial scars. Yep. I think one of the main differences is that, like, Cupcake was a slave and Weiss is a billionaire. That's, like, their main difference. I'm not sure why I started with the face with Butterscotch here, but I just think it worked out. Honestly, my dad does the same thing with names, you're fine. Yeah. Like I said in one of my other streams, I have at times accidentally referred to myself by my sister's name. So, it's nothing personal. Even my own name escapes my notice sometimes. I knew what I was signing up for when I made it part of the species guide that Dulcens have sweets for a name. Yep. It's a nice world building rule. It does make it difficult to remember which name should roll off my tongue. But that is not a you problem, that is a me problem. I am starting to think about what I'm going to make for dinner after this is over. I'm going to be experimenting, trying to make something kind of new. I'm going to be making a niçoise salad for the first time. And then I'm going to be eating a niçoise salad for the first time. I have no idea how I'm going to like it. Not to be completely random, but that's just what I'm thinking about now. Starting to get a little bit hungry. Looking forward to it. part of it is anchovies, which is something else I've never had before, so I actually have to make dinner pretty soon myself. I'm probably gonna be still at this for an hour more. I'm gonna make a crock pot roast. Ooh, that sounds really good. Let's go a little bit smaller here. I like making crock pot roast. My mom always made it very different though. It's not a traditional like pot roast. It doesn't have all the like vegetables and everything. I can just watch the stream while I'm making dinner. Yeah, that makes sense. My mom makes pot roast, crock pot roast with cream of mushroom soup. Gives it a real nice flavor. Now I want that. I just ordered groceries today and I did not get stuff to make pot roast. I have a bunch of other different recipes that I'm going to be trying out later. But now I want pot roast. I'll have to make sure to plan that for the next time I get groceries. Now I'm just okay, so I'm still thinking about how we were talking about the sweet names and everything for Dilsons, and that's just making me think of the flower names for the other ones, and that's just making me think about forget-me-nots. Wait, I shouldn't say I shouldn't say that because spoilers. Whoops. I gotta remember that not everyone who might watch this has the proofreading privileges. I was not thinking. But it is, I'm just thinking about that. I'm so feral for it. Let's see. I don't want to leave too much space here because it's not going to be super outlined because this is in a darker part of the space. It's not going to be super backlit. I was talking to someone while you were talking. What did you say about names? I accidentally spoiled a little bit of something that was in a proofreading. So I'm probably not going to repeat it because I just accidentally referenced the naming thing that happened in one of the recent proofreading chapters that you posted, and I was talking about how I'm feral about it, but then I was like, wait a minute, that was in proofreading, so it's not posted yet. So yeah, I was just saying that I'm still feral for that thing that I read in the proofreading section. I don't want that there, actually. I think this whole section just needs to be colored over. I'm very excited about how far ahead I am because it means when I'm done with the mid-season finale, I get to have a long break as the chapters go out. Yup. That makes sense. Oops, I kind of went over the face there. I gotta be careful. I am a full week behind in my own schedule for my webcomic that I was trying to draw. There's so much little intricate detail work that goes into something like that. It's not just drawing characters, you know, it's drawing scenes, it's drawing backgrounds, it's drawing environments, and it's just taking a lot longer than I had anticipated. It's fun work though. I'm having fun with it. I just need to try to, and also the more that I do, the faster I'll be. Not only just because I will learn how to draw faster, but also because I'll have more assets. Because right now, everything that I'm drawing from scratch. It means that every time there's a door in the back of my scene, I draw the whole door. Every time there's a table, I'm drawing the table. But then I'm saving everything in my assets so that in the future, I will be able to just, oh, I need a door here. So I'll just go and copy the old door that I made and put that in its place and that sort of thing. So, yeah. It's a lot of work, but it'll get better. Webcomics are a lot of work. That's why you have to enjoy it to make it. Yep. And I definitely am enjoying myself. It's just a matter of finding the time and sticking to a schedule. Two things that I've never really been all that good at doing. Finding time and sticking to schedules. But I am learning and I will get there. And I really like the story that I'm working on. So that's making it easier to try to get going. Okay, one more leg. I didn't get this part done here. I'm seeing. I was like, I know there's one more piece that I didn't see yet. Oh, I'm seeing little bits here that I just accidentally overshot. All right. Nice. So now I'm going to come and soften this per the usual. Oh, I didn't do this sleeve at all. Sometimes I forget that we need to be careful about spoilers in these streams because it's generally just you and me talking. I have no clue if people who read the comic watch these streams or not. Yeah, I have no clue either. That's why I was like, oh yeah, I'm just talking about. I love the names of the Crucians as well, and specifically the name that I read about in spoilers. And then I'm like, whoops. I don't think that anybody who reads the comics watches these videos. I think the only one might be Daywalker. Daywalker might watch the videos, but she's in the proofreading chat too, so it's already spoiled for her, so that's fine. Okay, now back to softening. But yeah, it is hard to remember that even though it's just you and me right now, anybody could watch this later. All right. Now for Danny. Alright. So I'm going to try to be a little careful with the braid, because that's going to be one of the things that I need to be very deliberate with my strokes for, in order to make sure that it all actually looks like a braid. So let's see here. I gotta plan out what I'm doing here. You know what? I think that I'm gonna do something a little different. Not that big. This isn't quite turning out. Maybe I'll start here. The thing is, when it's the dark colors, it's kind of hard for my eyes to pick up on it all. So it's kind of a little bit difficult for me to see kind of what I'm doing, let alone make sure that I'm doing it well. I think that looks okay. And I'll continue to, change it up with highlights and with deeper shading later, so. I think the thing I've been having the hardest time out lately is fleshing out some of the new human characters. Hopefully going forward it will become easier. Yeah, that makes sense. Introducing new characters, that does take some time, but I think you're doing a pretty good job with it. I think one of the things is that when multiple characters get introduced at once, it always makes it difficult to give any of them enough focus. But I think you're handling it pretty well. Let's see, I think that's good there. I don't know why I did that actually. That's better. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. All right, so now back to the pen for the face. Gonna give a little bit of highlight here. Then a bit of a highlight here for sure. I think that's looking pretty good. The color in this part of the ear here, just to give it a little bit of pop there. And then, oh wait, I'm not gonna do that part yet. Coming in here and doing the detailing. Maybe kind of closing that off just a little bit to really let the nose be accentuated. I'm going to come in and give a little bit of space in the neck just to give a nice little bit of a highlight there. Now I'll handle the necklace before I forget later. Nice, nice. Alright, let's do the jacket next. Oh wait, I need to make sure to add some shading to the little red bands here. There we go. That's nice. And on the earring. Now we'll do the jacket. Just some shading there, and then have it pop out like that. I think that's good. Let's make sure the shoulder has some pop there. And then comes down like that maybe. So the collar is really popped. Oh, you know what? I need to make sure to shade his teeth. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget that later. Alright. Now coming back to this. Let's close it off like that. There, I think. fill this little spot here. The rest of this gets filled. Then on the pin here, I just want a bit of a shine on the edge. I'll take care of more of that with highlighting. Let's do the rest of this before I move on. Oh, you know what? I think I might have been doing this backwards. Okay, no, I think I've got it. I'm gonna have it be that a lot of it is shaded. I mean, a lot of it is highlighted from the, there we go. That looks pretty good, I think. Like that entire little section is just getting light on it. That's gonna be nice. Cool, that's looking good. So let's see here. This jacket is nice and poofy and puffy, so I definitely want to make sure that it has a chance to like have a bit of a spotlight on it. Sorry, I just had to decline a phone call. Why does that not want to color? Oh, you know what? That's a star that's like right behind. That is not going to be a good spot for that star. So I just need to kind of smudge that out. There we go. All right. And there we have it. That sleeve is looking pretty good. Yeah. Now let's do this other sleeve and the other part of the jacket. Let's give a nice pop over here as well. Let's fill that out right there like that. That's a good one. Sorry for not talking a lot just then. There was a conversation in the other room that was too loud to ignore, and it was upsetting, so I had to put on some music to drown it out until it ended. I absolutely understand. Anyway, I'm getting started on dinner now. Well, good luck. Pot roast sounds so good right now. Honestly, I feel like this was actually the perfect color to do this shadow in because everything, all of this white, it's so pretty. It's making me think of like toasted marshmallows, especially with this jacket the way that it is. I picked some good colors for this one. That's why I love shading in purple. Yeah. Now for this shirt. I think I'll start here at the bottom and then kind of work my way up. It's probably the best way to do this. All right. I definitely don't want to make just the whole thing completely black. I want to give it just at least a little bit of depth in here somewhere. So it's probably just going to be in a couple of wrinkles like that. Maybe I'll do a little bit of something here. There we go. And let's see how that turns out. I think that's pretty good. All right. I don't know if you can hear that water rushing. That's from the bathroom 2 floors above mine. Sorry, I'm being quiet here. I just got caught up in what I was doing, and also caught up in thinking about the Umbrella Academy. Not a perfect show by any means, but it's been fun. I haven't caught up yet or anything. I don't know what's going on in whatever's the most recent stuff. And now we come to the boots. I don't know if you remember, but when I was doing these last time, when I was drawing it, I could not get the boots right, and I just gave up and was like, I'm just gonna have to do the boots on my own time because it was time for me to end the video. You were right that the problem that I was having was that they weren't detailed enough for my style, because I'm used to drawing detailed boots, so having them be so simple was just it was right for your style, but it was definitely a heartache for mine. So what I had to do in order to get the boots to actually look right for me was just start over and give them all the detail that I usually, I didn't give them all the detail I usually do. These are actually still simplified boots as opposed to what I usually draw. But I just had to detail them in order to actually get a shape that looked right for me. So now Danny's got some proper boots going on here. It looks good. Thank you. All right. Now to simplify. Not simplify, soften. Why did I say simplify? Once again, I'm just sitting here quietly. I need to I need to make sure I'm still talking about stuff. I'm almost done with the first round of shading, but before I do the lighting, there's a second step for the shading that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be giving them deeper shadows. in certain spots. So hopefully that won't take quite as long though, because it's just going to be kind of just darkening things in certain spots and getting it just a little bit deeper in some areas. I think this first round of shading is definitely the one that takes the most time. And doing it on, 5 whole characters, that's definitely contributing to how much time it takes. I think that's him softened. Alright, so cool. So like I said, next I'm going to be doing some deeper shading. So I'm going to make another layer on multiply, and I'm still using the same thing, but I think I'm going to take my airbrush and just try to kind of do this on airbrush. Just give it a little bit. Since I'm multiplying the bottom layer. Since I'm multiplying the, I need to make sure I'm clipping. Since I'm multiplying the layer beneath, it's just going to make it just a little bit darker here. I probably should be taking my time to do it a little bit differently, but I'm just gonna keep going with what I'm doing. This is just a nice quick way to just add some more depth. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this one blurred. I'm just going to blur it out. Maybe about that much. And now one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unclip this one so that I can clip this onto it and make sure that it doesn't exceed its bounds. And now I can clip this again. And that just gives it a bit of this deeper feel. Alright, so that is the shading pretty much done. So now I'm going to move on and do the highlights. So for the highlights, I'm just going to make a new layer here and do a clipping, and then I'm going to do a dodge. And with the dodge, I'm going to take this darker gray color here, and then I'm just going to come through with a sharp pen and just start adding highlights. And this will really brighten it up and get it some kind of glow effect going on here. And this will also add some depth to it as well. Give some nice bright popped colors here. And this is why I did the white originally in gray. It's because I wanted to be able to make sure to give some really nice highlights going on. It's kind of giving a little bit of a satiny kind of feel to her tail here, I'm realizing. I like it, that's nice. It's real nice. Might be a little bit too bright for the face, but I'll muscle through. I think that's okay. And then just give it some nice pink pops to the hair here. And then on the cowboy hat, it's giving it a bit of a pink glow. I think that's pretty cool. Now let's do milkshake. This is turning out way better than I had envisioned. I'm actually really happy with this. Like, you know how sometimes you have a project in your head and you're like, oh, I really want it to look like this, and then the more you do it, the more it strays and it doesn't really turn out the way you had envisioned it. And then you're like, well, I mean, I guess it exists, so that's something, but it's not what I wanted it to be. This is like the exact opposite. This is like, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it. I don't really know if I'm going to be able to do it very well. It probably won't turn out all that great. And then I'm like, wow, I'm actually really happy with how it's turning out. It's always a fun time. And it's so easy. I'm still just marveling over this technique. I love it. I'm so glad I learned how to do this. Butterscotch. And Danny. Give it a little pop on the collar. And a little bit on his pin. Yeah, that's nice. Back from doing the brunt of cooking. It was surprisingly stressful. I'm back now. Well, welcome back. Right now I'm doing highlights, which just give it a nice glow here. It's less noticeable on the red, but I've planned ahead for that. Alright, I'm going to just do a Gaussian blur of 1. Let's see how that looks. If that makes it look good. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Alright, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these down. But I'm going to do another layer of highlights on Dodge. It's looking gorgeous. Thank you. I'm having so much fun with it. So with this, I'm just going to be doing not as many highlights. I'm just going to do a little bit here and there just to kind of give some last little bits of pop. Specifically, I need to, you know what? Okay. I need to specifically find a good Dodge color for the red, because the red is not giving me the Dodge that I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go like that, and then I can play around until I find what I need. I'm not really sure what my issue is. I don't want it to be pink on this dodge layer. Maybe I shouldn't do a dodge this time. Maybe what I need to do is just do some kind of lightning effect. But I need it to be brighter than that. But I also don't want it to be too white. You know what, let's just see what the white looks like on dodge. Yeah, that's terrible. Oh, you know what I might do is hard light. I might try to find some kind of way to do hard light to make that look good. Let's see here, let's see actually. Yeah, not good. As I've been watching the stream, I've been finishing up the last few pages in the newest chapter. Hopefully it will be up for proofreading very soon. Nice. I'm going to keep trying to find a good way to do this. Let's try maybe something a little pink. It's not what I want. Oh, I'm not in the right blending anyway. Maybe let's try this one a little bit brighter. That might be fine. That might be fine. I might just go with that. We'll see here. That might be better. It's all just a matter of trying to find what you want. That's fine. That's okay. All right. So I need to make sure I'm clipping. This is just for adding more highlights where the other method wasn't really working, primarily with all the red. But I might try it out on some of this gray too. Nope, that's bad. just going to do a quick blur on this one. Oh, I need a little bit right up in here probably. Yeah, so I'll do a quick blur. Just probably 1 point, maybe 2. Let's try 2. How does that look? No, let's go back and let's just do 1. So that just gives a nice little bit of a glow there. Merge that down. And then, okay. Now I'm going to take this color layer, put it on top of this, blur it out, copy and paste it a bunch of times so that it completely covers all the lines. Merge it all together, clipping. Let's try hard light. Lower the opacity. I think that looks pretty good. That just kind of gives the line work a bit of a soft glow. Merge that down. Now to do the eyes, because the eyes, I do eyes a very specific way. So first off, I need to make sure that I have everything the way that I need it to be. All right, now a new layer. Let's do a darker brown here. Then let's come and do a nice bright orange. And let's do just a bit of a blue here for shading. Blur some of that out a little bit. And then on top of the line, come in with a white. Cut down like that. Copy, paste. Blur it on 1. Paste. Blur it on 2. That down. I kind of think maybe I need the blue line to be darker, which means I should have done the blue line on a different layer. But oh well, I will just take this and come a little bit darker. Blur it out. And there we have it. Nice bright shiny eye for Danny. Let's do cowboys next. His doesn't really have any color in it just because it's so small. So I'm just going to put a little bit here for the blurring of it. You know, I might just do a tiny little pop of green. Just to give it a fleck of color, actually. Oh, that would need to be over on the top. I know you said blue or green, so I'm just gonna go with green. I'm gonna do a 1 point blur on this probably. No. Maybe I'll just do a tiny little bit of a blur. There. And then I'm gonna make sure this is okay. I'm on the wrong layer. I will do a new layer. Make this a little bit smaller of a brush. Blue it on one. Maybe one day I'll draw the human characters in a different art style to showcase what their actual eye colors are. That'd be nice. Actually, I don't need the second blur. That's nice and shiny as it is. Would you rather I do blue instead of green? No, green looks great. Okay, cool. I do think I might kind of try to make it a little bit more noticeable after all. No, I don't like that. I'd probably do a green eye and blue eye version of Cowboy. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, now let's try Milkshake. And this is going to be different because I've never done eyes like this before. Make people pick which one they like best. Yeah. Alright, so try my hand out at these kind of eyes. I'll probably do an orange shadow, go a little bit red, go a little bit deep on it. So I need a layer, cool. So this is to give it that depth. Blur this out. No, I'm gonna erase it. Whoops. Maybe I'd also just do a line of deep red, just very subtle, over the top of it. Just to kind of give it a sort of a burnt sunset kind of vibe. Yeah, that's looking nice and deep. Maybe I'll lower that opacity a little bit though. Just a touch. Nice. And then come over here with black to give depth to the eye itself. And then do my usual trick. Come up here with white, with a sharp pen. Cut right through to just shiny it. Just make it nice and bright and shiny. Copy, paste. Gaussian blur 1, paste. Gaussian blur 2. I'm actually not quite sure if I need this to be at full opacity. I want the color behind it to really shine, so maybe, you know, okay, I'm gonna start this one over. I need to make it thinner. It was too thick, it was too bold. So now just cut it through like that. Okay, copy, paste. Gaussian blur 2. Gaussian blur 1. That's better. Still gives it that shine, but you can really see the orange underneath. Actually, okay, wait, I've got an idea. Let's come in here with some yellow instead of white. It can be brighter than that, but it can be close to white without being fully white. That will definitely sell the orange. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Alright, now let's do butterscotch. So I'm going to do the same thing. 4 o'clock. Wow, I am running a little late. I'm going to try to hurry up and finish this. So I'm going to do the same thing here. Give this a burnt red depth. Whoa. I thought I selected blur. I guess I did not. And then just erase this outside part of it here. That's a little too red. It's kind of giving a vibe that I don't want it to give. So let's just go back to orange here. That's better. And then we'll do the same sort of thing over here on the blue one. Give it a bit of a bluish shadow. Oh, it's the hair in front of it. Okay, I gotta make sure I shape the eye correctly with the hair. My carrots for the pot roast just arrived. Nice. Let's blur this out. I can't tell. I mean, I can tell because my dogs act crazy whenever there's someone at the door. I miss my dogs. My family has 2 dogs, and the thing is, they were primarily like me and Kit Kat's dogs. Like, they were family dogs, but we were the ones that they like just really specifically had attached to. And now we both live as roommates across the country, meaning we don't really get to spend time with our dogs a whole lot. The dogs are still at mom and dad's house. So it's sad because we don't get to see them more than like a couple weeks a year. And obviously it's even more sad about our parents and our other sister. But like, with them, we can talk on the phone, we can Zoom, they understand why we're not there. But with the dogs, it's just like, they don't even really know why we're not there all the time. So it's just sad. To give the depth to the eyes. Oh, I'm on eraser. That's my problem. Okay. And then come over here and do the same trick with white. I'll start with white at least. Let's do an undercut here this time. Gaussian blue 1. Gaussian blue 2. Merge them down, see how it generally looks. I don't think I need to change the colors of them like I did with Milkshake. I think the colors behind them pop perfectly well. Although I think this orange one needs to be a little bit slightly more yellowish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do the underside here. I'm going to take this and go just a little bit more yellow. Just a little brighter. And that'll just really blend well with the overside, with the over version of it. Yeah, I think that looks better. And then last but not least, let's do cupcake. So first things first, I think I'm just gonna kind of fill this part here with a bit of a dark red thing going on. I went on the wrong layer. It needs to be more purpley, I think. And darker. And now for this. If I were doing like a full version where I could see her eyes perfectly, I would probably do this a little bit differently. But for now, I'm just going to kind of... Oh, I'm on the wrong tool. For now, I'm just going to kind of shape it out a little bit, kind of like fractal crystal thing going on. It's almost like a pixel art type kind of thing, where I'm just trying to give the illusion of gem as opposed to trying to actually make it look like a real one, because it's too small for it to actually look like a real gem. So I'm just going to kind of make it kind of have a bit of a gem-like quality. It looks way too bright. Okay, okay. Never mind on this. Let me just blur this one. And then maybe I'll just come here and... We'll see how that works. Digital art tends to get more pixel art like the further in you zoom. I think the gem looks pretty good. Cool, cool, cool. And it's definitely something you can notice. It's just this tiny little pop of color here. That's nice. Alright, so I'm thinking that's mostly done, but I kind of want to do one more thing. So first, let me merge all this down. I made a lot of layers here doing the eye colors. What is this? What layer is this? Okay, cool. All right. So got the line work, got this. So now, oh, first I have this bit of a red layer, but it needs to be smaller, I think. This is just to give it a bit more red ambiance, and then it also has a bit of a sketch effect to it. So like, it just kind of makes it look a little sketchy. And then I'm going to play around with this, and I might not keep it. I don't know. I kind of want, on a real low opacity to just sort of like give some red glow to some of these things. Let's see if I can do this and if it looks fine. And if not, I'll just stop. Maybe not this low. Maybe the opacity needs to be a little bit brighter. I want to go a little bit lower. Yeah, that looks good. I might have to fix his eye a little bit because it actually looks too white. I'll take care of that once I'm done with the rest of this though. Alright, so that's the red for that. But then I'm going to come through and do a bit of a, maybe a purple, a very light purple. To sort of simulate kind of like the stardust quality of space. And also to just introduce a little bit of like cool shades into this very red heavy, warm heavy drawing. I need to come in here and do the hair a little bit. There, that's better. And this will also just help to accentuate the highlights that I already put in and really separate the characters from the space behind them. Because you definitely don't want them to get like lost in you don't want them to be lost in space. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Although I might put the line work beneath them. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I kind of think that looks better. Nope, nope, that does not look better. Wait, what's going on? Why is that happening? Oh, okay. I didn't realize this was on clipping. Let me just try merging it real quick and see how that looks. I think that looks pretty good. Now just do the final touch-ups here because I think that Danny needs a little more variation on his face. So actually I'm going to undo that line work for just a minute because I need to get the shadow here and just do a little bit of variation. So let's just get some nice brush work going in here. Oh, multiply. But then also I think that's pretty good. Okay. And then finally, the last bit of touch-up is fixing Cowboy's eyes because that just does not look right. Okay. Oh, I see what's the problem. I kind of made the shininess too shiny. I need it to look less shiny. Because otherwise it was looking like he had like a plain white eye with and it was not good. That might be a little better though. How does it look at 100%? Maybe it needs to still be darker. I wanted it to be a pop of green, but at the same time, it needs to be darker because he's so far away from the camera that it all needs to be darker. However, I think that this needs to be darker as well. The outline kind of made the eye lose its shape a bit. That might help. Just darkening that back up again. Yeah, okay, that's much better. All right, I think that's probably done. I think it turned out pretty well. Yeah. think the last thing I'm going to do is I kind of actually want to move Cowboy. So now I've merged everything down. So all the layers are attached to each other. I mean, all of the character layers are attached to each other. So I just have Cowboy by himself, free floating character. And then let's kind of just move him down a little bit like this. It's gorgeous. Thank you. Yeah, I think I like that kind of better. And then we can also actually move Cupcake down a little bit so she's not so far away from everybody. I mean, like, obviously she's still far away from everybody, but it's just, she was too high up. She was too far out. That's a little better. Yeah, I like that positioning. So, there we have it. It is completed. I am really liking the way that it turned out. All right. Well then, I will send you the finished file after I'm done here. And yeah, there we have it. It turned out way better than I had thought it would. Like, I was kind of talking a little bit earlier, I think you were off doing your cooking, but like, normally when I start some big project like this, I'm always like, well, you know, it didn't turn out the way I'd envisioned it, but at least it exists. It's not quite right. It's not what I wanted it to be, but it turned out okay. But this time I'm like, this actually turned out way better than I had thought it would. Although, actually, I kind of need to accentuate this tail a little more. Everyone is going to go bananas for this. Well, I hope so. I'm just going to do a little more. Actually, let's do the red one. I'm going to do a tiny little bit more accenting on this because the tail kind of, I realized the edge of the tail kind of got lost in the weeds of space. So I'm just going to accent it a tiny little bit more so that it stands out from space. Yeah, that's good. So yeah, it turned out much better than I had thought it would. I'm really satisfied with this. So yeah, I'll send you the file. I'll post it on the Discord servers. I'm really proud of it. Oh, I almost forgot. One last thing I need to do. What color do I want to do it in? Let's do this. Let's do this purple color. Coming into pen sharp. Coming over here to the corner. It turned out amazing. Thank you. Kind of lost a little bit of the shape here, so I'm just gonna sneakily make the shape right. And I'm gonna move this just a tiny bit more like that. Copy, paste. Gaussian blue 2, just to give it a tiny little bit of a glow effect here. Make this a little brighter. It kind of distracts too much, so I'm also going to make it a tiny little bit smaller. And put it right down here in the corner. Or maybe I'll put it up in this corner. That seems to not distract as much from like the hoof and everything. Or maybe this corner. I think it looks good there. All right. Now it is done. Or, nope, that's too much distracting. I'll try this corner. I feel like in that episode of SpongeBob where, like, he goes to the chum bucket and he's just like, I need you to move the stove over there. No, a little more, a little more. And eventually it gets right where it started. But I only did it in the 3 corners, so that's good. All right. Well, so I'm going to go ahead and take off and finish up the stream here. But this was honestly really fun. I'm so glad that we decided to do this because I had a lot of fun with this, and I learned a lot when I was learning how to draw it and everything, and I think it just turned out really nice. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here, get it posted on Discord and all that. So